Did you know the way emotionally healthy people control their emotions isn't just about staying calm? It's actually about using specific strategies to transform the way they experience life. Over the years, I've seen many people struggle with their emotions, not just feeling upset or frustrated, but letting those emotions control their actions, relationships, and even the way that they connect with people. But here's the thing, emotionally healthy people don't just manage their emotions, they control them in a way that most of us haven't even thought of. How do they do it? They use 5 specific strategies that not only keep them in control, but completely transform the way they experience life. And here's the best part, you can start using these today to change the way you handle your emotions. Stick with me because by the end of this video, you won't look at emotional control the same way again. Let's start with emotional triggers. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Emotionally healthy people don't let triggers take over. They have a system for managing and recognizing their triggers before they cause an emotional reaction. Think about this. Have you ever been in a situation where someone says something and instantly you become defensive or angry? That's a trigger. But emotionally healthy people ask themselves, what's really going on here? Often it's not about the situation itself, but something deeper, like feeling disrespected or ignored. Here's a tip emotionally healthy people use. They actually track their emotions mentally or even in a journal to anticipate and diffuse them before they escalate. And this is where boundaries come in. Once you know your triggers, you can use boundaries to prevent those from overwhelming you. Let's explore boundaries. Now, let's talk about those boundaries. You might think boundaries are just about saying no, but emotionally healthy people use boundaries to protect their emotional state where they feel overwhelmed. And here's where tracking your triggers comes in. Once you've identified your emotional triggers, boundaries help you maintain situations where those triggers are likely to pop up. For example, if you know you get overwhelmed when you have too much on your plate at the end of the day, you can set a boundary like, I need 30 minutes of alone time to unwind after work. This is a boundary that I personally use and have used for many years before I started coaching, before I started deep diving into emotional intelligence. Because I know as a mother, your children are going to need you. Don't have the ability to walk away when your children need you. But you can say to your household, mommy just got off of work. I need X amount of alone time, and then you have my full undivided attention. Your children will respect that boundary. Though it may take some time for them to get into the routine, but will respect the boundary. And you are setting the example of setting boundaries for your children. By tracking your triggers, you can use boundaries to prevent emotional overload before it even happens. But boundaries alone aren't enough. Sometimes, despite our best efforts, life throws unexpected challenges our way. That's when we need to call on our emotional resilience to bounce back stronger. And that's what we're diving into next. Let's talk about resilience. Emotional resilient people don't just bounce back from setbacks, they bounce back stronger. But how do they do that? It's not just about going through tough times. It's about reframing those moments as opportunities for growth. Imagine you've had a terrible day. Most of us would feel defeated, but emotionally healthy people see challenges differently. Instead of asking, why is this happening to me? They ask, what can I learn from this? This mindset allows them to not only cope with emotional setbacks, but use them as fuel for growth. And here's where it ties into boundaries. Maintaining emotional resilience helps you reinforce those boundaries without guilt or second guessing. When you're resilient, you're more confident in protecting your emotional space. But of course, resilience does not work in isolation. It's supported by the way that you talk to yourself, which is what we're going to discuss next. Positive self-talk. This one is a game changer. Emotionally healthy people don't just say generic affirmations when they're feeling low. They reshape their inner dialogue to keep their emotions in check, which strengthens their resilience. Let's say you made a mistake at work. Most people let that inner critic run wild with thoughts like, I'm always messing up. But emotionally healthy people flip the script. They'll say something like, this wasn't perfect, but it was an opportunity to learn. It's a subtle shift, but it completely changes how they experience the moment, and it reinforces their ability to bounce back from setbacks. Resilience and positive self-talk go hand in hand. Resilience builds confidence, and positive self-talk fuels that confidence, keeping your emotional balance intact. Now, let's take it a step further. How do emotionally healthy people maintain this balance in high stress situations? The answer lies in their stress reduction practices. Emotionally healthy people don't just wait until they're stressed to start managing it. They have techniques that they use daily to keep stress at bay. One of the simplest and most effective techniques is deep breathing. Have you ever heard of the 5-5-5 technique? It's simple. You breathe in for 5 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You hold for 5 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4. And you exhale for 5 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4. This technique signals your brain to calm down. And emotionally healthy people use it regularly. So when stress does hit, they're better prepared. But here's the key. Without positive self-talk and resilience, stress can take over. That's why these practices all work together to create a system of emotional control. If you're wondering how emotionally healthy people can stay calm, if you're wondering how emotionally healthy people can stay so calm under pressure, it's because they built these habits over time. So let's quickly recap. We've covered 5 powerful strategies emotionally healthy people use to control their emotions: understanding triggers, setting boundaries, building resilience, practicing positive self-talk, and using stress reduction techniques. But mastering emotional control is just the beginning. There's something even more foundational to emotional intelligence that you need to know about, and that's emotional self-awareness. If you're wondering whether you might be lacking emotional self-awareness, I've got just the video for you. Head on over to the next video. 5 signs you have low emotional self-awareness. In this video, I break it all down, and trust me, you don't want to miss this one.